Well, students, we're going to continue painting these. I would like you to use as much pattern as you can use. So find a space. I would like you to start working on pattern right away. Please do not splash it or tap it or bang it. Please be gentle with your brush. Wipe it off a little bit. Get some of the water off. This one here, I'm going to do an example in this spiral. I'm going to use some orange, and I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put this here, but I'm gonna leave a little bit of white space next to it, and I'm gonna show you why in just a moment. So you can see that I'm using more paint than water. This should not be filling up with water. If it's filling up with water, it makes this paint get very soft and it can crack, so be gentle, obviously, and use a little more paint than water. It'll make the paint nice and bright too. So here, I'm thinking with this orange, what would work well with it? Well, take a look at the color wheel and try to figure out what color would work well with orange. So let me grab the color wheel example here. Orange could work well with yellow because they're next to each other, and orange can work well with red. And red and pink are pretty much the same too, so pink and orange would work well too. So I'm thinking with this one, I'm gonna go with orange and red. I wouldn't do orange and blue because if those end up mixing, they would probably turn a little bit brown, or orange and green. Those ones wouldn't work so well. So think about what's next to it on the color wheel. So I'm gonna rinse off my brush, wipe it off a little bit, be gentle with it, and then I'm gonna take some of the red. And then if these do touch a little bit and they mix a little bit, it would just make a little bit of red-orange, and that would be fine, and that would really look nice. You can see that I'm trying to take any of these white spaces and I'm gonna make those white spaces disappear, and I'm gonna have those be painted in. Get a little more paint on your brush. So find any of those white spots and fill those in. This almost looks kind of like a sunset color now. How that pink goes nicely with the red and the orange, and where the red and the orange mix, they create kind of a reddish orange color. Now let's move over to another pattern. I'm gonna do this one with two colors I've already used, and you're gonna find out why in a moment. I know that I use blue and pink here, but I'm gonna use blue and pink again, and I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do to it to change it. So let's do the pink. And that's gonna go right up to my yellow line. It's part of the pattern here too. And then I'm gonna skip this row because that's gonna be my blue. And I'm gonna come down here. And then the pattern looks like it goes about right there. Then this other part of my pattern is gonna be blue. So wipe that off. This blue is pretty thin, so be gentle with it. If it were to crack or if it were to break, you would lose your opportunity to paint. So here, I'm gonna go around those dots and fill in any of the white spots. So it's gonna go right up to this edge. If your brush starts to make a sound, like I can hear it making a little bit of a sound, that means be more gentle, put a little bit more water, a little more paint on your brush. So we'll paint that in. We'll come over here and get this painted in. And then we'll do this one. I'm gonna come back to this one in a minute and I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna let it dry a little bit while I'm doing that. Now I'm gonna do this one up here with some yellow, because I haven't used yellow paint today. I used a little bit of yellow last time. And then I'm gonna turn this into a pattern of yellow with a little bit of green. And then the last one that I'm gonna do over here, I'm gonna use a little bit of this dark blue because I haven't used any of the dark blue. I should probably put more green on this. It's a little bit light, but we're gonna let it dry. I can come back and add another layer of that later. So I'm gonna rinse this off. Let's go with a little bit of this dark blue. Always keeping my paints clean so they don't get mixed up with color. So here, I'm gonna do a little bit of these loops. And I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with those white spots that are left in the pattern in a moment. So I have a plan already in mind for those. So here, let's go back to this pattern now that it's dried a little bit. Since this is pink and blue and that's pink and blue, in order to change that, what I can do is I can take blue and I can mix it with green and it'll make it a blue-green color. And pink works really well with blue too, because pink and blue, since they're connected by a solid line, they'll make it purple. So I'm gonna take this, so I don't have pink and blue twice. Let's take this and let's put some blue onto the pink, and you can see here it's gonna turn it purple. And then I don't wanna put any of I don't want it to get mixed here, because wherever this is, that blue, I'm gonna put green on it because blue and green are next to each other. Then I'm gonna have a pattern of purple, blue, green. Makes kind of like a turquoise color. And so that the green doesn't change color, I just rinsed off my brush again. So sometimes when you're mixing, you want the mixing to happen on your paper, but you don't want that mixing to be happening in here. So if I were to go like this, eventually that would start turning a blue-green color too. So that would work well for a good mix. And then I'm gonna show you one other thing. If you do want to do any of this, like a dark blue, and mix it with a light blue, that could end up being nice. I could do yellow, works well with orange. So I could take yellow and put it into my orange and make like a yellow-orange color. So just taking the color wheel and putting two colors that are next to each other. Black is the final color to use. Do not use any black until the end. If you use black, it makes your brush very dirty. So that's why I want you to save black for the very end. That's why this pattern here, dark blue and black, are the colors that really work well together. So here, if I want to put a little bit of black into this looping pattern, I'm going to do that with the dark blue. I wouldn't use black really with any other color. And those white spots can make this pattern now dark blue, black, dark blue, black. If you notice that once you're using black, if you notice there are any lines here that don't look very dark, then I would add an extra layer of black to them. So if you think that you have a little bit of extra time, take your brush and then do these lines. Just make sure that you just do a little black, get some more black. Do a little bit of black, get some more black. And I'm also being really careful that when I do that I don't let the black touch any of the colorful paint, because if I do that, then it can smear into those and make them look really dirty. So be careful. If you're using the black just stays separate. I would work my way around here, doing these dots and getting those painted an additional time. So I'm gonna stop here just so you have more time to work, but if at any time you have extra time, put a little bit more black on your black lines, please, to darken those up. Makes it easier to see your shapes too. So let's have fun working on these.